In this episode, I'm going to share with you the bed socks that I finished for my husband, another little piece of alpaca scarf that I knitted that still is not the answer to my itchy neck, and a few other projects including my ranunculus that I shared in the previous episode. So let's get started. Good day everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Mariette, also known as die Boervrou, and this is episode 40 of the Crafty Stitches Podcast. Today is the 28th of June 2023 and I'm coming to you from South Africa. I am not sure if you'll be able to hear chainsaws in the background. I do apologize, but it's been going on for a few days, so people are cutting trees down and there's not much I can do about it. So I hope you don't hear that, but if you do, sorry about that. It is completely out of my control. Alright, so today I am not wearing any knitting that I've knitted myself. This is just a store-bought jersey that I've had for, I don't know, close to 15 years. So it is a bit colder here as we are in the middle, just past the middle of winter, but I have to say it hasn't been as cold as I'm used to. Maybe it's just still coming. We shall see. But anyway, I do still get to wear my knits, so it is all good. Alright, so let's start with the feedback that I wanted to give on 2 weeks ago's episode, episode 39, when I was talking about the stone crop cardie that I was knitting from Andrea Mallory, and I was sharing that I am going to stop working on the project because it was too big. I had some gauge issues and it also hurt my hands. So in the meantime, I did block the piece of garment that I already made, and I did get 3 different gauges on the project. So obviously I don't know how to measure gauge on a colorwork cardigan, and neither one of them is the same gauge that I got on my swatch. So I don't know what I did wrong. I definitely get I get 25 and a half and 26 stitches per 10 centimeters in different places in the cardigan, and the gauge of the pattern I think is gauge minute is 27 stitches. So none of the gauges that I have on this cardigan is the same as the pattern, so it doesn't really matter. I've written it down in my notes. If I maybe one day want to do that again, I can check on my notes and see what I did and what gauge I did get. I think my gauge differs a bit because I am battling with, or was battling with, the color work, holding the strands in different hands, trying to get my hands not to hurt, and I think that might have also messed up my tension a bit. So before I ever do an all over color work thing again, I think I should definitely have more practice with smaller pieces of color work before I attempt an all over color work thing again. Alright, so let's move over to finished projects. I do have 2. Alright, my first finished project is the pair of socks that I was knitting for my husband for bed socks. And as you can see, the pair is finished. It is knit toe up with a gusset, heel turn and a slip stitch heel flap. And in the previous episode I was at this little stitch marker, which is a stitch marker from Annegret from Pincushion Crafts, and I just finished up the rest of the leg. So that is a finished pair. It is some double knit yarn. I made it with the black is the Python's Totem, which I suspect is 100% wool yarn, and the grey is the Python's Totem double crepe, which is a 60% wool, 40% nylon blend. And I do have 110 grams of the grey and the black combined left, so I do have enough for another pair of socks. This pair took 95 grams of yarn, and I knit it with 3.25mm needles. So, pair of socks done. Very, very happy with how they came out. So I definitely think I can get another pair out of this yarn that I have left. Alright, so that is the first finished project. The second finished project I haven't even shown before because it's a very, very small project. It is this little scarf, or going to be a little tie around a basket or something. This is a, what would you call it? A sample knit that I did with some sample yarn that I bought from Tunisian Yarns. This is a, I did write it down. It is a 62% alpaca, 10% silk, 19.6% wool and 8.4% nylon blend. And I just dyed it this little pale purple color. When I dyed the yarn for the stone crop cardie, and I knit this little scarf with 6mm needles. I almost used up every little bit of this that I had in the sample, so that I can just put it around my neck and feel if this also scratches me, because if you have not been here before, I am still on a mission to find a fluffy yarn that does not make me itch. So this is less itchy than the African Expressions Hope mohair that I made a cowl in, that I can absolutely not wear because it scratches me a lot. I do know that lots of people don't have this problem, but for me it is very scratchy. And then I also tried a mohair blend, also from Tunisian Yarns. It is less scratchy than the African Expressions, but it still scratches my neck. I did take all of these samples, and after I saw it on somebody else's podcast, I actually folded it up and put it inside my shirt and worn it a little bit like that. And when I wear it against my skin inside my shirt, the African Expressions Hope is absolutely unbearable. I cannot even do 5 minutes. The Tunisian Yarns mohair is not scratchy at all inside my shirt. This just prickles me a little bit inside my shirt, but on my neck it is a little bit more prickly. So I will definitely not be able to wear this around my neck as well. But I still do have hope. I will share another project with you a little bit later in the podcast where I am trying out another fluffy yarn. So stay tuned for that. But this one is definitely a no-go for me. Right. Let's move on to the works in progress of what is on my needles, because I do have two new cast-ons, and that gives me a total of 5 works in progress. I think that is right. So let's get chatting about these projects. Right, the first project is my Ranunculus. It's the fourth one that I'm making, and I did show it in the previous episode. Let me just show it to you first because I'm so excited about it and it got a lot of love. So in my previous episode I was at this stitch marker, also from Annegret from Tunisian Crochet, and I added that much to the body. This project is amazing. I love it. I am in love with this yarn. It is gorgeous, and I'm loving these black specks everywhere. It is beautiful. Right, the yarn. So this is Yama Fiber Arts Crafts and Design Merino Linen Singles, which is a 90% merino, 10% linen blend. It's got 360 meters on 100 grams. It's a fingering weight yarn, and the colorway is called Masala. And this was a gift, and I'm so happy to be using it. I love it. I do know that singles might pull a little bit more, but I'm loving this project. It's beautiful, and it'll be my first experience having an actual garment in a singles, and we shall see how it goes. But I'm loving knitting this project. I did block the yoke to there, I think. Yeah. Because I didn't gauge swatch. I just knit the yoke and then a little bit of stocking stitch, and I measured that and I washed and blocked it and just measured it again to see how much it actually grows. And it does grow a little bit, I think a stitch or two per 10 centimeters. So I knew how many increases to do to get the right fit for this ranunculus. So this is supposed to be a layering piece. That's what I'm intending it for. It's not going to have a lot of positive ease, but yes. I'm also knitting this ranunculus on a 4.5 millimeter needle, and I did do the cast on as in the pattern for the smaller neckline on the same amount of stitches on the 4.5 millimeter needles, and it just goes over my head, which is very nice because then it's nice and snug around my neck. I omitted the short rows in the front, but I did do them at the back. And what else did I do? I did more raglan increases, but I did write it all on my Ravelry project page. So if you're interested in what I did differently, I did make some detailed notes on that. So last night I measured this one, and I think I need about 10 to 14 centimeters for the body still. I think including my ribbing, because I don't do crop. And then I can move over to the sleeves. Now usually I knit my sleeves first, but this project I am alternating yarns, and I started with one yarn cake until I split for the sleeves, and then I started alternating when I got to the body. And usually when I run out of my first cake of yarn, I start the sleeves, but I still have some left of my first cake, so I haven't run out of yarn yet, so I couldn't start the sleeves yet, because I definitely did not want to cut the yarn just to start the sleeves. And now I am so close to finishing the body that I'm thinking maybe I will finish the body first before starting the sleeves. So that is the ranunculus. Very happy about it. Cannot wait to wear it. It's amazing that it is such an open fabric. I mean, you can actually see through it. But if I fit it and I take it off, I can immediately feel that I lost a layer of fabric on my skin. It's going to be very nice and cozy. Right. I think that is it for the Ranunculus. I might add that my friend Liani from Independence Yarn Crafts and I were hosting a Ranunculus make-along on Instagram for the month of May, and we have both finished Ranunculi in that time, and after that finished we just decided to make some more. So this is the second one that I'm making this year, and she also just finished hers, I think over the weekend. But I will link her episode down below. She did talk about the Ranunculus. Well, she talked about both the Ranunculi that she knit in her latest podcast episode. So I will link that down below for you, and you can have a look at that. They are also beautiful. Very beautiful. Right. That's a Ranunculus. Project number 2 is the hat that I'm knitting for my husband. I did do a few changes since we spoke in the previous episode. So I am knitting this hat with Al Family Knit chunky yarn. It's 100% acrylic yarn. I'm using the colorway Ash, and it has 80 meters on a 50-gram ball. So in the previous episode I shared that I made a little start of the hat, and it was too big because it had too much increases, so it was wobbling a lot. And I think here you might be able to see what I meant with wobbling a lot. Anyway, so I restarted the hat, and this is what I have so far. So it is supposed to go down like that. It's a little bit hard to show because I'm doing it on magic loop and the cable is keeping it open, but anyway. So I redid the hat in 8 sections, and it is now at the point where I need to fit it on him so that we can see if the circle at the top of the hat is big enough. So I will still have to see if that's working and if I need to do less or more increases, but I think I'll be fine. I did measure the circumference of his head, and he helped me a little bit with the math to work out how big the circle, the diameter should be of the circle on top of his head. So we shall see how this turns out. I am knitting it on 5mm needles. The previous one in this color that I did in a 4.5mm needle, but I also found that because the gauge is much tighter, it started hurting my hands. So I decided, let's just go back to the 5mm, and that is what I did. Let me just get a stitch marker so that I can keep track of the progress from when I showed it to you. So I will add this one that was made by Itsy Klein for Little Yarn Craft, which is my local yarn shop. So this hat is something that I am designing as I go, because I did make him a hat last year in double knit yarn which was a little bit too cold, but it is all as per his specifications on how he wants it to be. So I am trying to get the stitches and the counts and the measurements right so that I can make him a proper natural yarn hat. So going great, getting there, must still fit it, and then I will see if this is big enough or needs adjustment. At least I'm working on it. So it still has a little bit to go. But that's the hat. Right. What's left? 3 projects. Alright. The next one you've already seen as well. It is the simple shaped cowl in the double knit version that I'm making. That was not good. Snagged the yarn, all fixed. Right, so this double knit version of the simple shaped cowl I am knitting in L5050, which is one of their new yarns that they brought out this winter. It is a 50% acrylic, 50% superwash wool with 150 meters on a 50-gram ball. And this is the colorway 050 Dark Jeans. Right. And this is how far I am at this stage. In the previous episode, I was at that little marker there, also from Annegret of Pincushion Crafts. And I will move that now. Right, moved. Okay, so this is what I have so far. I am writing up the pattern for this, or I have already written the pattern for this. So I'm knitting this sample, and this will be my 4th shaped double knit one. I think so. I gifted one to my grandmother, and I have 2, and this, yes, 4. But I'm writing the pattern especially for this yarn, and very excited to get this one finished, because if we do have a little bit of colder weather, I'm definitely going to need it. And I do like blue. I think blue suits me. Very happy about this. So I am knitting on 4mm needles, which is a US 6. And yes, coming along very nicely. Really enjoying this project. I don't know if I should have said anything else about this. I think that is everything for this, and the pattern will be coming soon. I do have a few things in the line of patterns, and yeah, I just have to finish them one at a time. Alright, so that is the cowl. Then in the previous episode, I mentioned that I want to start a new pair of socks for myself. And this will be my 2nd pair of socks that I'm knitting for Summer Sock Camp, hosted by Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady. So this yarn is Esteriza Yarn Creations. And this blend is 20% kit mohair, 30% nylon, and 50% superwash wool. It's a 4-ply, and it is 390 meters for 100 grams. And this is what the yarn looks like. Gorgeous yarn. And I am knitting another pair of the Felicity Socks, which is my own pattern, and this is what I have so far. Really liking this a lot. very, very nice. Maybe I should just pull it open a little bit. There we go. And this is what it looks like at the back. Little micro stripes. Very, very nice. Really enjoying that. Let me add this stitch marker at the back. Another stitch marker by Annegret from Pincushion Crafts. This was a beautiful gift as well from a viewer. I'm really enjoying the color combination of this stitch marker and this yarn. It's just gorgeous. Alrighty, so that is a pair of socks for myself that I am really enjoying, but I have so many projects and I didn't knit that much on the sock yet. We shall get to that soon, I hope. Alright, then my last project. So this last one I just started, when was it? Saturday? Friday? I'm not exactly sure. But anyway, so as I mentioned, I do have a last attempt on getting fluff or knitting with some fluff that I can put around my neck and see if it scratches me to death or not. So my last attempt is with the Suri alpaca from Knotty Habit. So the Suri alpaca from Knotty Habit is a 74% baby Suri alpaca and 26% mulberry silk. And it is a brushed Suri alpaca, and I'm not sure how many meters is on 50 grams. I didn't get it in my notes. I think it is 300 meters. I'm not exactly sure. I do not have a yarn label, so I cannot read the yarn label. Anyway, so what actually happened is I ordered some yarn for the next sock design for my Socktober sock along pattern, and I'm not going to show the yarn yet. You will have to wait a little bit. But anyway, so Mincy and I were talking and she sent me this Suri alpaca. And this stuff is gorgeous. Just look at that. Oh my word. It's like a little cloud. I'm in love. So, it does not help for me to take the ball of yarn and do this because none of these other things scratched my neck when I did that. But actually wearing it, it scratches. So, I am now knitting a project with this yarn so that I can put it around my neck and see what the outcome is. So I started a little shawl, and this is tangles. This is what I have so far, and I'm holding the Suri single. I wanted to hold a double with a sock yarn, but then I decided to just let it shine in its own right, and I started this. Isn't that gorgeous? It is so soft. I have some hope. I have some hope. So I'm knitting the pattern on Ravelry is called 4 of a Kind, and this is the Kindness Shawl by Brenda Brayfield. So the 4 of a Kind is basically 4 shawl patterns in one, and 2 of them have variations, so it's actually 6 shawl patterns in one pattern that you buy, like a collection. And I'm just doing the plain garter one, which is called Kindness, and that is the first shawl in the 4 of a kind. It is actually designed for fingering weight yarn, and this is a lace weight as far as I know, but in the pattern she has a PDF with tips and tricks and things on knitting these shawls, and she did give a little bit of instructions of how many stitches to cast on and make a little block and not block it basically, and then just measure it before blocking to see if you have more or less the same gauge as she does. So I did that, and it was very near to what she said I should have, and I decided I'm just doing the suri. Even if it's a little bit smaller, even if it's a little bit bigger, it's just like a simple crescent shaped shawl that you can wear around your neck like a scarf basically, or I don't know, a shawl. Anyway, so I jumped straight in, and I cannot wait to have enough yarn so that I can put this thing around my neck and see enough yarn, enough fabric. See, I'm so excited about this, I cannot even talk. I cannot wait until I have enough fabric so that I can actually put it around my neck and make a little knot and see how it weighs. But anyway, so I do have a little bit less meterage on this ball as she has in the pattern, but the shawl is written and she gives instructions and grams on every section, how much she used, and so it is knit from side to side, so there is a way to make sure that you don't run out of yarn, which I'm really gonna try. But I'm loving this. It is so beautiful. Cannot stop looking at it. It is just gorgeous. And in my favorite color. So yes, very excited to see if I can actually find fluff that does not scratch me. That will be lovely. I'm very hopeful because Mincy is allergic to mohair, and she also said that the other things that I used scratches her as well, and this does not. So I'm very hopeful that this is going to be it. This is the try. This is the sample. We are seeing if this is going to work. I'm very excited. Okay, so I don't usually show acquisitions, but I will just quickly show you this one thing that I got in my parcel from Naughty Habit as well. It is a crafty hand balm, and this is the Comfort one. She's got a few different what is it, flavors? Is it flavors? I guess different ones in the shop, and you can check that out. It says that the ingredients is camphor, vegetable oil and waxes, and it's in a little thing like that you can just, I guess, push out and put on your hand. Very nice. Okay, I think that is it. I did mention that I'm working on the new sock design for Socktober, so keep your eyes peeled. It's coming. I'm definitely doing it again this year, and I'm super excited because last year when I did it for the first time, I was working on the sock patterns in September, and I actually published it like 3 minutes before midnight on the last day of September. And I promised myself that this year I am practicing self-care and I'm not doing that to myself again. And I decided in June I need to do this design. And well, the yarn is here, the design is written up. I need to knit the sample, and I'm super excited about it. So right, let's move on to find out what's been happening. Alright, so I have been on a mission with all of my patterns that I already published. I was updating all of them into my new pattern format. I made a change or two in certain things, added some new information that I learned over the past year or so. I fixed a few grammar mistakes because English is not my first language, but I try very hard. And anyway, I am very happy to report that I only have one pattern left to update. So all of my sock patterns have been updated. All of the yarn cake cozy patterns have been updated. The only one that is still left is the rustic dishcloth. So I've updated them on my website, on the Ravelry shop, as well as the Etsy shop. And I've added all of the patterns that's already been updated onto the Etsy shop as well. So if you want to check them out, you can do that in any one of those three places. They will all be linked down below. Alright, so the next thing that I want to say about the updates is, if you bought any of my patterns and you have not received your update yet, you can send me an email at info@boervrou.co.za and we can sort that out for you. It doesn't matter if you bought it on Ravelry, Etsy or my shop. I will check that out and see why you didn't get an update and make sure that you do get your update. Right, that is it for patterns. Good. Okay, what else is there? Right, I do also have a pattern in the works that I did show a long time ago, which is a Tunisian dishcloth, and I in the meantime decided I didn't like the yarn that I made it in, and I redid the design in a new yarn, and I'm happy to report that that is almost finished. I just need to take some pictures, add them into the pattern, and I think that is it. And then that pattern can go out. So that will be coming very soon. I will definitely announce it on Instagram as well, and here on YouTube. And I think that is everything for patterns and things that I have been up to with knitting and crochet and so forth. The other thing that I can maybe share that happened in my life is on Saturday we had a little veld fire again at the property behind us. There was no property damage, it was only a veld fire, but yes, it's been quite a lot of smoke, and luckily it wasn't too bad. We got it under control very quickly and nobody got hurt, only grass burnt down, but yes, what can we do? Farm life. So luckily a big portion, or the biggest portion of the property that is next to ours have now already burnt, so for the rest of the season it will not be that big of a thing that bothers you so much, because there's just a small bit that has not burnt yet. So that helps a little bit in that regard, because if it's already burnt, it cannot burn again. Anyway, so as I said, luckily no one got hurt. We were a little bit sore because of all of the firefighting, but it is all good and we got it under control very quickly. Okay, so what else is there? I will be putting my podcast recommendations on the screen for you again, and I will link the two of them down below so that you can check that out if you are interested. I think that is everything that I have to share today. I see that it is becoming quite dark now. Apparently we are getting some rain today, a few days after the middle of winter, which is weird for me, but anyway, if it rains, it rains. What can you do? We're not used to getting rain in the middle of winter. But anyway, so let me move on and go do some things around the house. Thank you so much for watching. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. If you are new, I hope that you enjoyed this episode and that you will consider sticking around. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you would like to see any more of my content. And I will see you in the next one. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye.